I speak on the Bhagavad Gita, 9 chapter text 22. So you can listen to the song. If you know, you can join in. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today reading from chapter 9, text number 22, the most confidential knowledge. I'll read it myself, then I'll go through it. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. You know the verse? No? Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Ye Jana Parupasate. Ye Jana Parupasate. Tesam Niyukta. Tesam niyukta bhukta yuktanam. Tesam niyukta bhuktanam. Yogasevam abhayam aham. Yoga sevam abhayam aham. Ananyas chintayanto mam. Ye jana parupasate. Tesam niyukta bhuktyanam. Yoga sema bayam aham. 922. Ananya chintayanto mam. Ye jana parupasate. Tesam nityukta bhuktanam. Yoga sema bayam aham. Anyone want to try? Okay, you got it. You got it, yeah. Just put it up. Ananya chintayanto mam. Ye jana parupasate. Tesam nikta bhuktyanam. Yoga sevayam vayam aham. Ananya chintayanto mam. Ye jana parupasate. Tesam yukta bhuktanam. Yoga sevayam vayam aham. Anyone else want to try? Want to try? No? You try? Yananya chintayanto mam. Ye jana parupasate. Tesham yajna yuktanam. Yoga jnanam. Okay, word for word. Ananya, having no other object. Chintayanta, concentrating. Mam, on me. Ye, those who. Jana, persons. Parupasate, properly worship. Tesham, of them. Nitya, always. Abhiyuktanam, fixed in devotion. Yoga, requirements. Shemam, protection. Veham, carry. Aham, I. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. For those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Please do it responsibly. But for those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. You can sit on this side. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day, being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving in the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shemam refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, Lord protects him from falling down into the miserable condition of life. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksur Mileta Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapita Minabhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Datati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, he explains how the body is dear to us. Why is the body dear to us? Because why do we become pain? Because consciousness is there. Even our loved ones, if the body the consciousness leaves, the soul leaves, no one is attracted to the body, isn't it? So we can see from that point of view, and why is the soul dear to us? Because it's part and parcel of Krishna. So ultimately, Krishna is our dearest object. So this lecture by Srila Prabhupada, the Gopis' example of purest love, Prabhupada gives a little elaboration on this, on how we can come to this stage of pure love for Krishna. So I had a lecture by Radhanath Swami yesterday, transformation of consciousness, and he was explaining how what may be austere for one person may be not austere for another person. And he gave the example, like he said, when Mukundama Janaki were getting married, Janaki was very simple. She never put on opulent dresses, nothing in her life. So when Prabhupada got her married, he asked her to put on very opulent sari and jewelry and like this. And Mukunda Maharaj, when he got married, he was opulently dressed. So even they were inviting their family members, the relations. When they saw this, they were shocked. Because they could never conceive Janaki like that, like in an opulent dress. But for the normal person in the outside, that's normal dress for them. It's nothing unusual. But someone like Janaki, this was like an austerity. So the understanding is that even taken to Krishna consciousness, certain things may be austere for us because we are not being trained properly to see everything in connection with Krishna. We are conditioned in certain ways to see things with our own little keyhole point of view. But once we understand what is pleasing to Krishna, we do that, then we become fully happy. And Maharaj gave an example. He said, like, when Krishna was born, the Gopas and the Gopis, they put on opulent dresses. Some had diamond saris, some had ruby saris, and like this. The wives of Krishna had ruby saris, the Gopis had diamond saris. But it wasn't like the wives of Krishna were arguing against the Gopis, why they got ruby saris and we got diamond saris. like that. They were happy because it was for Krishna's pleasure. So, come in. So when we use for everything for Krishna's service, then harmony comes in. But Prabhupada does warn in one of his courses, he does say, everything belongs to Krishna, but when opulence comes in, too much opulence, then forgetfulness of Krishna is always there. So, just for the sake of being simple, the Brahmanas, they don't take on too much wealth. They voluntarily remain poverty-stricken. They take what they need. That's it. And we can see this in the modern society. Because of too much wealth and technology, people are finding it very hard to take to Krishna consciousness. In previous times, when people used to, before going to school and they used to read Krishna book, go through Bhagavad Gita, worship the deities, offer the food to Krishna. Then evening when they come back, they used to have Mahabharata discussions, or Ramayana discussions. And there used to be a whole culture like that, where the whole life was revolving about how to go deeper into the relationship with Krishna. And then they used to get the devotees coming, the sannyasis coming to elaborate on the teachings. This is the real life. Modern day government leaders, what they've done is, even in Srila Prabhupada's time, he explains in one of his lectures that they've tried to modernize things in a way that's to distract people from going to the holy places. So they built many hotels and like this. So people don't go to temples. They end up going to hotels. So they're trying to divert people from the spiritual practices and trying to get them into modern technology. And they're making cities more opulent and attractive, and they're taking people away from a simple living, high thinking way of life. So we can see how questions later. We can see how people are being covered. So the Krishna conscious devotees who are part of the Krishna conscious movement, their challenge is to educate the masses of people so they can take to Krishna consciousness. In the early years, when Prabhupada came to England in 1969, he tried to educate the leaders, so the leaders can educate the masses. But the leaders weren't willing to change. Prabhupada was also willing to speak on the Bible point of view, but they weren't willing to change. So Prabhupada just said, we have our own scriptures, we stick to our scriptures. And Prabhupada was preaching to the masses. Prabhupada said, if you preach to the masses, then from the masses the leader will manifest. The masses themselves will come to a conclusion who are the leaders, and they'll choose the leaders. So so he says, the devotees, they are have divine qualities. because they're following the path of Dharma. Whereas those who are not devotees, they may be having so-called good qualities, but because they're not following the true path of Dharma, then they get affected by the modes. Especially in the Western world, ignorance and passions is very strong. So, in order to take to the path of spiritual life, one has to practice mode of goodness. So Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness is very simple. Chanting, dancing and feasting. The devotee asked Prabhupada, is there any other challenges? And Prabhupada said, the only challenge is you have to practice mode of goodness. That's the only challenge. So if you can practice mode of goodness, then spiritual life becomes happy, it's full of joy. And if someone does not practice mode of goodness, he'll find it more difficult to take to spiritual life. So, I read an interesting article here. Let's see if I can find it. Accepting Temple Lord Krishna, Lord Buddha, 42. Yeah. So this is by BFBVV Narasimha Swami. So he joined in 1981 in England. He took sannyas. Now he's preaching in different parts of European countries and like that. So this was in August 1921. So Lord Krishna in the land of Buddha. So it shows how sometimes people have to go through some kind of difficulty before they take to Krishna consciousness. So in December 2004, I was in Singapore for a few days on my way back to Bangkok when I learned of the tsunami devastating the coastlines of Thailand, Indonesia and Malaysia. I was staying in the home of a devoted couple, Siddham Das and his wife, Tulsi Devi Dasi. Together we watched the news reports on the TV. There had been immense devastation and thousands of deaths. I didn't know at that time how the tsunami was to open up a new preaching field for ISKCON. So after the tsunami, some people came forward to start an ISKCON temple. So this shows how sometimes disturbances do happen to wake people up. And even after the disturbance did happen, they built the ISKCON temple. The neighbor, he wasn't happy because devotees took some of his land away. So then the temple had to give some of the land back, knock the temple property down. Then they call Ajamil. Ajamil put the Anantashesh. And now the temple is functioning. So this shows how don't ring the bell. Don't ring the bell. Yeah. So and the other example is in and the other example is there was a devotee, he came from Ukraine, and this is when the war was happening. And the devotees told him, because he was still disturbed, the devotees told him, why you're disturbed? Krishna is here. He's here in the temple. No need to be disturbed. So that shows for a devotee, even in difficult times, he's not disturbed. Because he knows Krishna is protecting him. As Krishna says in his verse, he protects us. What we lack and he preserves what we have. So for an advanced devotee, he has no disturbance. But his only disturbance is other people are suffering. But it says in the fourth canto Srimad Bhagavatam, in the connection with Dhruva Maharaj, Prabhupada gives in the purport that there's two kinds of devotees. There's a Kanishta, there's Bhajanandi and Goshnandi. And Goshnandi is a preacher and Bhajanandi he does bhajan. But both of them they have their limits, how they don't compromise on certain things in terms of not disturbing their hearing and chanting. So, because you can only help others if you're spiritually strong yourself. Because at the end of the day, we all fly our own planes. And so even Srila Prabhupada showed that example when he came to the West. When he started the Hare Krishna movement, in the beginning, some individuals did join, but then they weren't willing to take the practice seriously. So Prabhupada didn't give much time to them. He gave more time to the ones who came forward. And even in the Jew construction, there were people who had their houses before the temple was constructed. And Prabhupada told them, I don't want you to leave. You can stay here. Only thing is you have to follow the principles. Then you'll be allowed to stay. So eventually they themselves moved out. So that's an example to show where there is purity, impurity cannot stay. Or like the sun, when there's sun, there's no question of darkness. So in that sense, as individual practitioners of Krishna consciousness, if we maintain our purity and we have become very serious, then Krishna will guide us in a way that the impurity will leave us. And what is coming in the way will be taken away. So, it's up to us how much we are willing to take that line of purity. So, at least if one is not on the highest level of purity, one should at least follow Ekadashi. Because Ekadashi will help you to come to the line of purity. Any questions or comments?
I have one comment and one question. So the comment is like what you said about that when we in previous days, like when children go to school, they hear about the Krishna Katha. So it's like in India still there is some culture like that I know that in Indian school, in some of the school, when I used to go to the school, when we go to the school, the first thing we have is we call it Prarthana Sabha. So that is some sort of meditation and praying to the God. Not always Krishna, but any God, we do prayer before we begin our day, like school day. So yeah, that's the comment that in India still there is some culture there. And my question is, what is transcendental form? Like I was just reading the translation and it says that, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form. So what is transcendental form? That's my question.
Well, Yeah, you mentioned a point about people worshipping in the schools before they do pratna and all this. But the thing is, because of Mayavad philosophy, people don't accept God as a person. That's the problem. They take him by the energy. And there was an example of that in Gorakhpur when Prabhupada was preaching somewhere. Prabhupada they invited him to a place of Gandhi's temple or something. And all they had inside was a lamp burning. So Prabhupada challenged him. He said, you claim to be following Bhagavad Gita, but why have you minimized Krishna to a lamp? He's not just a lamp. I don't see any pictures of Krishna in the temple here. So he chastised them like this, saying that, why are you not accepting Krishna as a person? And same thing happened in England somewhere. Some Bhakti Vikas Maharaj went to a program in some temple, and he was speaking about how they do the temple worship and like this. Jai Shri Radha Gokulanda ki Jai. And how they don't accept Krishna as a person. And the management weren't happy with that. So Maharaj told the devotees, don't worry about it. Krishna will give you a bigger place in time. And a bigger place did manifest. So it does show that when you don't accept Krishna as a person, then you don't get the full mercy. You're actually not opening yourself up for the mercy. And Srila Prabhupada gave an example. He said, because when you worship God, Krishna's energy, then you're just meditating on the Brahman feature. So you're just entering energy, like the sunshine. But if you're just going to the example, you may be sitting on a chair by yourself in a room. You may get some peace and quietness. But how long can you sit in a chair by yourself? Because you are pleasure seeking. You have to have a relationship. So we have to connect to Krishna. Then the real pleasure comes. Like that.
Just a comment. In India now, in the state of Gujarat, it's kind of compulsory as part of their curriculum for studying Sri Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita now as well in schools.
Just see.
As a state of 50 million people.
Wow. That's in Gujarat, huh? So it's Gujarat is 50 million people there's in the state. Just see. So that shows how we have to take these teachings very seriously. And your questions are answered, Mother? All your questions are answered? Okay. Yeah. So, for the devotee, there is no difficulty. In Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 35, text 33, quite lengthy purport. But in the purport is commented by the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, how if you just think of Lord Chaitanya, then all the difficulties go away. Because Lord Chaitanya is very merciful. He says by His mercy the difficult things become easy, and without His mercy the easy things become difficult. And in the end of the purport is commented like this, that thinking of Lord Chaitanya, one should understand, one should not act on the bodily platform. Because Lord Chaitanya's teachings begin from the stage of coming off the bodily platform. So if we start acting on the bodily platform, then we are missing out on Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So, if we strictly follow the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, by His mercy, the difficult things become very easy. And what's the obstacle coming in the way will be removed. Like in this example of Phuket, the place where the tsunami happened, the devotees were very greedy for the mercy. And they contacted Maharaj and said, Maharaj, they phoned Maharaj and said, you have to help out in Phuket. You have to organize something. So Maharaj contacted the in charge of food for relief program in that area. And they came there. Then they got committed, they started a temple. From Krishna's point of view, he's looking for a greediness. So the example can be given, just like if someone's a millionaire and he's got a lot of money. Say for example, our money is stolen, or someone takes it, he'll be thinking of the money all the time. The same way, Krishna wants us to think about Him all the time. So if we are thinking of Krishna in that way, then the reciprocation will come very fast. Because Krishna doesn't want us to remain in the material world. He wants us to come back to Him. And He's always sending devotees. He's sending messages to other people. He's reciprocating in the heart as super soul. But generally, people have to go through a difficult path before they turn to Krishna. There was an example Premananda Prabhu gave, how one time he was doing book distribution and he met this man. He was a pretty proud man. He didn't take a Bhagavad Gita then. He had a business, he had a wife, family and everything. But then later on, he lost his family. His wife died. He lost his job. Something happened to his son. Then he went on the railway track. He was laying down, hoping that the train will run over him. He stayed 2 hours like that, but nothing happened. Came up again. And then he met Premananda Prabhu after like 15 years or something. And he asked Premananda, I met you 15 years back. I don't know why God didn't take my life. So Premananda gave him a free Bhagavad Gita. Krishna wants you to take to His teachings. So, why go through all that difficulty when you can take the teachings very easy, in a happy state? Why do you have to allow Krishna to put you through that difficulty before then you take to the teachings? When you can take it in a nice, happy state, just like that. The Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness you can accept in 1 second or you can take millions of lifetimes. So how much are you willing to accept? In another place, Prabhupada said in his lecture, he said, either you surrender to Krishna or you surrender to 3 modes of nature. So in other words, you embrace Krishna or you embrace the 3 modes of nature. The living entity has to surrender. He cannot be fully independent. So in this lecture on the purity of the gopis, at the end, Prabhupada is saying, the problem in modern day society, they consider the body to be very important. And they're not ready to let go of the bodily platform. But then the example Prabhupada gives is like, if someone's drowning in the ocean or river and someone jumps in and saves their coat and shirt, what will people think? They think, what you're doing, you've allowed the person to drive, you shaved his shirt and coat. So this is modern society, what they're doing. They're not looking after the soul, but they're looking after the shirt and coat, which is the body. So we should not be misled by that. We have to go by the proper understanding of the self-realized souls, take their teachings, and then we'll be saved. People don't realize the workings of Maya, how Maya is very strong. They don't see. They don't understand how there's a subtle government which is governing everything in this world. They forget to see something is higher. They can't perceive it. Because the difficulty is when we harbor the enjoying mentality, then our vision gets covered. We have to cultivate a service mentality, service to Guru and Krishna, then everything becomes clear. Questions?
Good question. Maybe not particular to that verse, but when Krishna says, okay, surrender to me, I'll take care of you, and I will take all your sins. So what's some devotees is maybe asking is that, okay, people are taken to Krishna consciousness, then they try to practice and engage, and then the bad things happen to them. So people break their leg or get bad illnesses. People just get feeling that, okay, I've kind of surrendered, I've done what I've been asked to do, doing the service and doing that, but still getting that, like reactions, bad reactions. Why Krishna is not that way?
Well, the reactions come, Krishna reminds us, token reactions. Otherwise, we don't learn the lesson. So for a devotee, it's just token reactions. The Prabhupada gave an example. He said, you may get your hand cut off, but Krishna just gives you a little cut on the finger or something, minimized.
So it doesn't mean, like, for example, it's not a will, but I'm saying that the person that broke the leg doesn't mean his both legs shouldn't be broken, and it's only one broke.
It's
But it
good.
still hurts.
Could be. Never know. There was one instance here with Shivaram Swami one time. There was one person, he's doing the mowing of the grass many years back. And he cut his finger or something. And Maharaj told him, you should have got your hand cut off, but Krishna minimized it. We don't realize how merciful Krishna is. That for a devotee, he minimizes to the bare minimum. So, only thing is we have to understand who is Krishna. This is the main thing. Because ultimately Krishna is maintaining everybody. Prabhupada said in one lecture, he said, he's teaching in Kunti, he said, someone may be thinking, I'm mother, I'm father. But Prabhupada said, ultimately Krishna is the father, he's the mother and father, all living entities. And we are just dancing like monkeys, thinking that we are mother and father. Ultimately, Krishna is maintaining everybody. So, it's not like you don't do your duty outside. You do your duty, but don't give your heart and soul completely. Your heart and soul is to Krishna and the devotees. These other things will pass very quickly. Like that. Because you're living in the world karma bhumi. This is karma, the world of karma. So you'll get implicated in karma. So even when demigods get cursed to come to the earth planet, they don't get involved in karma. They do austerities. Because they understand this is not the world. Anything you do here, you get implicated. So, for those who are advanced, they just maintain their purity. And that was one of the things with, that's why Prabhupada wanted the Krishna conscious movement. It was a Brahmanical movement to get Brahmanas to guide society and go further, So the Brahmanas don't depend on anyone. They depend on reading scriptures and they maintain purity by their sadhana, and they depend on Krishna and the Guru and advanced devotees. So if you go by that approach, everything becomes easy. Then emotions get purified. You get to see what the right thing to do is. Because in Kali Yuga, lifespan is very short. So the blessing of Kali Yuga, you chant the holy name seriously, you serve the Vaishnavas, you go back to Godhead very quick. In other ages, the time was so we used to go in deity worship, big sacrifices, austerities, meditation. But that used to take too much time up. But chanting is very easy path. But in other ages, people could not take to chanting because the pride was too high. Some would think, how can you achieve perfection by moving lips and tongue? Better do austerities. So this is why Lord Chaitanya, he appears in Kali Yuga, not Satyuga. In Kali Yuga, the pride is smashed. People are short-lived, unlucky, unfortunate, misguided. Memory is short like that. So they have nothing to go for, except the holy name. Okay, I'll stop here. Then Gauranga Prabhu is giving a Mahasangha in Krishna Haveli, 7 to 9, on leadership. And Tada Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnava.
Hello, start working.
Sri Rupam Sagrajayatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Nitan Nisham भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
There's no better service than this.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
No, no more. We've given two. But this one is for me. After I have to sing.
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Shri Radha Gokul Nand ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki. We'll start the Gora Arti now. All the wordings are on the top right hand side on the screen, and you can follow the lead singer after I sing the main stanzas. Thank you. Ki bajayo jayo Gora Chandere Arati ko sobha Ki bajayo jayo Gora Chandere Arati ko sobha Jnanavitataavane Jagamanalobha Jnanavitataavane Jagamanalobha Dakhin Nitai Chan Name Gadadhara Dakhin Nitai Chan Name Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradhara Nikate Advaita Shini Vasa Chatradhara Mosiyate Gorachan Ratna Simbathane Mosi